Welcome to the VA Today pod and videocast with your host, Gail Alexander, a podcast about VAs, for VAs, and businesses looking for the right VA to help to grow their business. Find the right VA today and visit VA Today on YouTube and ava-ni.com to find out more about VAs and what they can do for you, and get in touch with the virtual assistants you need today.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the VA Today with me, Gail Alexander, and this morning I am joined with Melanie Fitzpatrick from Gusto Business Consultancy. Now, Melanie is not a virtual assistant, but I have asked her along today because I know when you're starting your virtual assistant job, everyone knows the skills that they're going to offer and they're going to do. Not everyone knows how to set up their business, and this is one of the things that Melanie does. She offers support, coaching and mentoring for businesses and entrepreneurs setting up their own businesses. I was one of those clients last year, and so I got a kick up the backside to do my business plan, my financial plan and all this. So I thought Melanie would be a fantastic guest to come along to explain the steps that you need to take to help set up your business and help set yourself up as a freelance individual employee. So thank you very much, Melanie, for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Gail. You've just given me this big, massive intro. Gosh, not much to talk about, is there?
No, you do. Well, one thing I can talk about is Melanie has a large collection of Sharpie pens, and you're not allowed to steal any of them.
Leave my Sharpies out of this.
So just to give a bit of background, Melanie has vast experience in business, setting up businesses. She's been a CEO and has been a founder of a company that sold electronic manufacturing devices, has been director, and has also won the Queen's Award for voluntary service.
Well, not me personally now, the group that I work with. Not me personally. Can't take all the credit there because it wasn't me. Part of the team.
With the Assistance Dogs and she's a director of that group. So Melanie has a great experience. So Melanie, just to give us a sort of a brief outline of what you've done and what gives you this experience to help other businesses set up their business.
Gosh, Gail, you're absolutely right. I have done loads. I turned 40 back in July, and I started my first business when I was 17. So that gives you an indication. I don't know what I was thinking. If I was looking at young me now, I'd be saying, go out and enjoy yourself. Don't be doing that yet. Wait till be getting into the world of work till you're a bit later. But it was, there's no doubt it has given me a very wide range of experience.
Yeah, very much.
But in terms of helping people get started, when I first started my business, I went to what are called local enterprise agencies in Northern Ireland. And the enterprise agency that helped me, I actually rented units from them as well. So they had a great impact on what I was doing as a business person. And as time has developed and time has gone on, I've wanted to pass my knowledge on to people because I know how difficult it is to start a business. You don't know what you're doing. You're grabbing in the dark. And even when you're going, you still don't know what you're doing. You don't know if you're doing it right. You don't know if you're doing what other people are doing. Nobody has a clue. So I've met my mission. Actually, in the last, I've gone full-time, self-employed as a business consultant. I've been part-time for a long time, but full-time back in about 2013. Because I've recognized that it is difficult. So when a client comes to me and they say to me, how do you start a business? There's a couple of different tools in my toolkit as a consultant. It depends how far on they are in the business. So the good news is it doesn't matter if you're a VA or if you're thinking about setting up a multinational company or if you're thinking about just one-man band, which most people are.
Yep.
Okay, one-man bands, no staff, just themselves. It's the same steps to getting started. So there's one process you can use and one model you can use. It's the Timmins model. And it was brought to Northern Ireland by one of the Northern Ireland's best known consultants, which is Helen McKenna. She was over in Babson College, and it was she was being taught over there about entrepreneurship. And she brought that home and introduced it to the Enterprise Agency Network a few years ago. And we use it with people who are really literally at the start of thinking about starting a business. So it keeps things simple. It asks people who their customers are, you know, what they need to get started, that side of things. And it's very, very basic. The next level up of another very, very popular model to help people getting started is the business model canvas. It's a one-pager, and I do believe you did that with Women in Business.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a one-pager, nice and simple, asks you a few questions. Because it's only one page and it's not overwhelming, and you go and you find the answers and you fill in the answers from that. And for me, the next step up from that is a business plan. Now, when clients come into me, I would meet about 20 clients a month and write about, you know, between and a range from 10 to 20 business plans a month. Yeah. And the first question, as I said at the start of this, was, how do I get started? And I always say to people, if you can answer the questions that are needed for your business plan, then you're ready to get started, because there's everything in there. It looks at your business name. Okay. How long did it take you to pick your name?
Me, yeah, a couple of months.
Yeah, absolutely.
I decided on it.
Absolutely, and it is one of the hardest things people do. And I started off because I couldn't come up with one many moons ago, just with Melanie Fitzpatrick. And it took, I would say, about a good few years, about 4 years before I settled on the name Gusto Business Consultancy. And it was actually a client. I know, but it was actually a client suggested it to me. So that's one of the hardest things. So business name, what legal structure are you going to come up with? So for example, legal structure in terms of how the Inland Revenue CA, are you going to be a sole trader, which most VAs will be? Are you going to go limited? All right. It's very rare that we would see a VA that's going to be in a partnership with anybody else. But in terms of, you know, being a VA, it's normally I would recommend a sole trader setup. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because you know why? It's really easy. It you just open the doors and you're ready. Once a year, at the minute, once a year, because the rules are changing. Once a year, the Inland Revenue will say, what were your sales? What were your outgoings? What were your profit? Now you pay your tax. And it's as simple as that. The money's yours. You spend it how you see fit. You do whatever you want with it. So the great advantages to being a sole trader as well. So I also say to people, listen, it doesn't matter how many, you could still be a sole trader and have 500 employees.
Right, okay.
You know what I mean? So it's nothing to do with turnover. It's nothing to do with the number of employees you have. It's literally, now it's not recommended if you have 500 employees that you're a sole trader, but it's nothing to do with that is what my point is on that. Okay. So, and your business plan will ask you about marketing. You know, what research have you done? And I have to say, when my very first, the electronics business I started that you alluded to at the very start there, when we started, we genuinely thought there was a market for what we were doing. We had potential customers in there, and we had all of that, and we opened our doors, and for the first 3 years we didn't make one sale. Okay. And we'd spent thousands and thousands on equipment that sat doing nothing. And it was a bit of a shock to me, because when you're 17 years of age, 18, 19, 20, you literally think you can do anything.
Yeah, the confidence is there.
Completely. So when we were looking for it, we just weren't getting it. It didn't happen. And so the challenge for people now is to look for that work before they get opened. Okay. We're saying to people, go and look for work. It's not a waste of time. Okay. Yeah. Go and find it out. Those people are potential customers. So don't go all, you know, as if you're not open. You know, go professionally and speak to those people. So the business plan will challenge you to do that and to look for customers. It'll challenge you to think about the marketing that you're going to do. Okay. When are you going to do it? What's the budget for that? You talked about budgeting earlier. What, you know, when are you going to spend that money? How are you going to do it? Now, it is, I mean, that all feeds into a cash flow projection. And as we know, it's never the same. But you know what? A business plan, it's a fluid document. It's not set in stone.
Yeah, I think that's what puts a lot of people off. They think, I have to have these figures. They've probably been watching far too much Dragon's Den. You need to realize, and I was the same. It's like, this is just what you estimate. But as you say, it'll change, and that's okay.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, if I look at my first business plan, to be honest with you, because it was so long ago, there wasn't even any computers. Our computers were just coming out then, okay? So my business plan was like font size 20, and it was 4 pages. And I look and I think, why did anybody take me seriously when I produced this? But I mean, it's not just, I mean, it's about the person as well as the business plan. The business plan is just a tool to get you started, a tool that says, have you thought of this? Have you thought about the legal side of things? Have you thought about GDPR? Have you thought
Yeah.
about, but even things like, my job is to tell people these are the things they need to be thinking about. Like,
Yeah.
for example, if I'm playing music in my office and I have people coming in, there's rules surrounding that as well. You know, if I go and present and at a, you know, at an event and I've got music playing or I'm showing people's videos, there's intellectual property in there, you know. So my challenge as a consultant is to tell people what they need to be thinking of, but the business plan brings it all together and puts it in one place so that somebody can say, although I'm not infallible and know everything because I'm not a solicitor, at least you can tell people these are the things that you need to be thinking about.
Yeah, where to go. And that's, again, that was something that we hadn't thought about, and I don't think people do think about, is insurance. And so the different types of insurance, like, you think if you're working from home, you don't need the likes of insurance in case somebody has an accident. Well, you might do if you go out and meet a client every once in a while. So it's those kind of issues as well, and then where to go and get those.
And insurance is a funny one as well, because you don't actually, I was sitting in on a guy delivering a speech on insurance a while back, and he shocked me when he said you only need 3 different insurances in the real world. And number 1 is insurance to drive a car, which you know. Number 2 is insurance to ride a horse in public. Who knew it? Okay. But the other one was insurance if you've got employees. There's those 3, they're legal requirements. See, all the rest of the stuff isn't legally required.
Yeah.
But I always say to people, or can you afford to lose your house if somebody sues you? Or, you know, and I mean, understanding the difference. I mean, there's loads of different insurances as well. There's indemnity insurance, which is what I recommend for VAs, because that protects you. That's recommendations and using your knowledge to advise people. The public liability you mentioned is for trips, slips and falls. So if you go to, even if I go to go out somewhere to meet a client, they will have their own public liability. However, if I do something in my activity as a business consultant that causes my client or somebody else around me to trip, slip or fall, then the organisation that I'm in, they're going to sue me. Client will sue them and they'll sue me. Do you know what I mean? So just keeping an eye on things like that. We don't have a very, very big culture where people sue each other in Northern Ireland. It's not a big, big issue, but you're better just to protect yourself. And you're right, it is a minefield, but if you know where to look for the information, it's okay.
Yeah, and it's knowing that. And then there's also the insurance that's a lot more relevant now would be cyber insurance. Cyber attacks. And then I guess there's the new policies with under the ICO, and as you said, GDPR, which dealing with myself for a client, oh goodness gracious me. And it's always better to get that advice to keep yourself right.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been to loads of things and been surprised at the changes, and even simple things like I used to use Dropbox to save my business plans, but it's not on a European server, so I shouldn't be doing that. So I've had to remove everything and adjust everything that I do. Yeah. But I had a wee giggle yesterday with somebody, and we were actually talking about cybercrime, and I said, what are you doing here to protect yourselves? And she said, we use a company, this, that, and the other. And she says, but let's face it, if NASA can be hacked, so can we. I was like, right, okay.
There's a point there.
I was like, that is a good point. So, I mean, my website's been hacked, even though I've got really, really good protections on it. I went on Monday just to add some training to let people know it was happening, and it was this way: you've been hacked. Yeah. And I was like, everything taken off the site, nothing bad done on it or anything, but I was ripping and around the guy that looks after my site. I was like, what's going on? He's like, oh, you're not on a secure server, and had to change things. I was like, why should it be on a secure server? It's just an information site. But it just shows you that there are people out there just doing things for fun, and I don't know. Thankfully, nobody has ever asked me for money for anything, so.
Yeah, so that's another thing. It's like because most VAs, if not all, should have and will have their own website. So it's making sure you have the right person to either manage it for you and host it for you on a secure server as well.
I mean, a lot of people think they only need a secure server if they're collecting money and details like that. But I'm an example. I have a secure server now because that's the face of my business. You know, if somebody gets in there and does something, it's not very professional. So you're absolutely right. It should be something that you think about. And I would also say you don't have to pay a fortune for these things.
No, I don't.
You know, do shop around. I said to people, please, if you find a developer, you know, and you're happy with them, speak to them about secure hosting your site on a secure server. But I think mine's £17 a month or something like that. Even that's quite high. I've heard there's cheaper out there, but I'm happy with the company I'm with.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do shop around. It's insurance. Definitely shop around, because my insurance for my business started at something like £1,000 a year, and I shopped around, got it down to £180 a year.
Oh my goodness, that's quite a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And you need to remember that all these organisations, if you don't challenge them and ask them for discount, you won't get them.
And it'll be specific to your industry as well.
Absolutely. And keep an eye on that as well, because with the electronics business, the first one we had, because the electronics that we were providing were very, very, very new. They were completely niche. And the insurance company put us in this box that wasn't relevant to us. And when we went just to double check things, for whatever reason, we were never sued or anything like that, but when we were checking things, I remember reading down through the documents and going, it was a draftsman's office we were put in the box. And I suddenly realised we weren't even covered if something had happened. So that's another thing. Shopping around, make sure that it's specifically what you're doing in the business and you haven't been put into the wrong box.
Yeah. So is there any specific tools or pieces of software that you use or you recommend just for starting up, to get you up and running? Is there anything, like you were talking about, backing up and I know a lot of people will use Dropbox. I'm going to have to revisit that. I think all mine's okay, but yeah. So the tools that you use, so the likes of doing your social media, a lot of people use Canva for backing up stuff, is Dropbox for scheduling, there'd be Calendly. Is there any tools or software that you think is kind of a must for any entrepreneur or startup business, just to get them going?
Ooh, I think the absolute must for people, you really need to think about your accountancy software more than, I mean, those are brilliant things for marketing and everything, but something people forget is about finance. Nobody does their finances, they're going along. And if you meet somebody that does, they must be uber. I'm really, really organised, and even I don't do it.
Yeah.
So just initially even getting a wee bit simple piece of software. I mean, I know that there's Sage out there and there's QuickBooks and all of those, and you know, there's Xerox, loads out there. But one of the better ones that I've seen working at the minute would be QuickBooks, because you can put an app on your phone. You've got the receipt in front of you. You take a picture of the receipt, and that's it logged. And if you're working with an accountant or with a bookkeeper, that's what they're wanting to see, they're wanting to look at. So the good thing about QuickBooks as well is it allows you to keep an eye on your cash flow, look and quickly see, you know, who owes you money, who hasn't paid you yet, what your bank, because it'll link with your bank account as well, who's paid you, and you go, oh, they paid me, and you don't have to worry about contacting them. So software, in terms of finance software, is good. One that I always have a wee chuckle with as well is get a nice simple app for your travel. Because a lot of people don't realise that you can claim, if it's for business, 45p a mile in the UK. So get an app out. I mean, I personally, I used to, I'm so old school because I've been about for so long, but I had a wee book in my car, and I used to say the start mileage and the end mileage on my...
Your mileage book.
Yeah, my mileage book. I still have one. I'm not denying it. It's still in the car. But I know that there is an app. I've got an app as well, and it just... do you know why you're paranoid? You don't know if it's recording it right, and you're worried about losing the information. I've yet to lose it, but there are apps.
That's good.
Yeah, but I mean, QuickBooks, I think, has a stat in there as well. There are apps out there where you get into the car, you click start, you swipe left for personal mileage, and you swipe right for business mileage, and that'll keep a record of your mileage for you. So again, there's lots of wee things out there that make keeping records easier and that side of things. Yeah. I use Sage for my payroll. Because it's really, really simple to use. Once it's set up, I just ask my accountant to set it up, and he set it up for me, and then I just pay staff from that. But you can't go wrong with Excel when it comes to keeping your books.
Yeah.
It's easy to use. It's on your computer already. You can move things about if you've made a mistake, and there's not a big drama, you know. And I provide that to my accountant, and my accountant's very happy with that. Provide my spreadsheet along with my receipts, and my accountant's happy with that as well. So keeping it simple, keeping it with things that you know is good. Another thing that I absolutely love is is Google. I've got Google Chrome. I know a lot of I'm actually speaking to you from my Apple computer, by the way. And I've got my Google Chrome on there. But I love Google Chrome because no matter what computer I go to or whose place, I can log in and it's like sitting at home.
Yeah.
All my passwords are kept there. You know, all my little bits and pieces. So for example, I've got my LinkedIn there, I've got my marketing, I've got access to management information systems that I log information onto, my Sage, you know, Mighty Text, which is also good as well for sending text messages. But I have to say Google Chrome is very good, and even the Google Suite that they have, you know, their calendars sync really well with everything. I have a lot of problems with calendar sync for some reason with different programs, but there doesn't seem to be any problem with Google.
Yeah, no, I use that with Calendly. Works really well, so that people can now scheduling. This project has been made so much easier with people scheduling and they could choose. So it's been a massive help for me. Yeah, definitely.
And the other one, I mean, there's Mighty Text. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No, I haven't. So when you said that, I wrote it down. So I'm going to have a look.
Yeah. So Mighty Text, I send text messages to remind people about meetings with me.
Yeah.
And because I would have maybe say 30 meetings scheduled the following week, so I like to send out a text message. And with Mighty Text, you can send bulk messages. You can even when I'm sitting here with you now, if somebody's sending me a message, it's popping up on the screen, and I can type in my answer, and it's linked to my phone, so it's coming out of my phone, as opposed to paying a separate bill for it. So it's quite handy.
Yeah, that is really good. That's one to look at as well.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think. So they're the basic steps of setting up your business. Is there any sort of piece of advice that you would give? You know, never mind all the different things that you have to do. Is there any sort of piece of advice that you wish you'd known all those years ago?
Yeah, definitely the golden one. See if you do absolutely no research whatsoever except one thing. It's your primary research. Who is going to buy from you? What will they buy? How often? And how much are they willing to pay? Because at the end of the day, everything else will actually fall into place for you. That's the hard thing, is getting customers. And you should have something in place before you even open your doors. You have to know what you're doing is right. And you can do that. You can lift a phone and speak to people. And with VAs, that is something you can do. You can ring different companies and go, listen, this is the service I'm offering. Are you interested? You could have your own personal LinkedIn page and send it out there. You know, you could even send out not a MailChimp, but a mail Survey Monkey, MailChimp, a Survey Monkey. I know. Send out a Survey Monkey to find out if there's people interested in what you're doing as well. You know, so the one thing that's really important is establishing that there is a need for you.
Yeah, and
the research side.
Yeah, I think people are thought, you know, it's research. Oh, it's like going back to school. But as you say, it's something quite simple as doing a survey on Survey Monkey, or even just phoning about even, well, maybe not family, but people you know in your local area, to start there to find out, I'm going to do this, or I'm thinking of doing this. Would this be something you would be interested in? So it's not actually as scary as you think. If people say no, well, they're allowed to. If they say yeah, well, there you go. So it's that little bit of research, and that is also going to be something that you can take to investors or to the bank if that's what you need in the future, but they will want to see that kind of research.
I mean, that one bit of research, that feeds everything in your business. It gives you an indication of what your sales are going to be. It tells you, if you think of the 4 Ps, I'm going to be technical, not. So the 4 Ps, first of all, it'll help you establish your price. If you've spoken to people, you know what your price is going to be. It's going to also establish where you're going to be located, your place. Because if people are saying, I mean, I'm located at home. Initially, when I was starting, I thought I was going to have to get an office. And when I started meeting people, it suddenly became very clear they don't want to meet me in my office. If anything, they want me to go to them. So it didn't matter that I was located at home. So that's place, price, the product or service that you're offering. I mean, when I first started this consultancy business, I was like, yes, training because I love training. It's just what I'm doing, and this is what I'm doing it in. It started to go out to people, and people are like, yeah, that's really good, but what I really need you to do is business plans. And what I really need you to do is X, Y, and Z. So before I even started, my picture of what I thought I was going to do had completely changed from this to this.
Yeah.
And I could do this, you know, but I wasn't expecting that. So before I got started and spent money on my website saying what it is I do and spent money doing everything, the customer, the potential customer, that research established what I was offering.
Yeah.
So place, price, product, and promotion. If I'm looking at promotion, I'm also looking at my competitors at this stage to see what they're doing and what I could do better than them, what their strengths are, but what their weaknesses are. So I know in terms of, are they good at social media? Is that important for me? Or is their website good? Is that important? But mostly power pack people. So say you were my first customer and I was speaking to you and I said to you, Gail, listen, I'm opening in a few months' time. I've asked you what sort of price you're expecting and, you know, place, price, product. But I'll also expect you, if I was advertising, Gail, well, where would you expect to find me? Or would you expect me to lift the phone and ring you? Or would you expect to see an advert in the paper? Or what would you expect? So all my answers have come from my potential customers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, and that forms my business. So that's why I'm saying, if you do nothing else, that one thing will form your whole business, and that's why it's so important.
Yeah, and that's a good point to come back to. It's all those marketing tools that I remember, the SWOT analysis and customer analysis, product-based price promotion, and then I think the fifth P that we talked about was people. So
yeah,
you are your product, your service, and put your personality into it as well, because that will be your differentiator when it comes to some competition. So don't be afraid of that. Mm-hmm. Just maybe rein it in sometimes.
I mean, definitely. My friend always says to me, whoa, can you be quieter, please?
yeah, I get that too. Well, thank you, Melanie. That is really great advice for anyone starting up, but especially the VAs that our audience is. So hopefully it gives a lot of people, you know, the starting point of where to go, and even somebody to come and ask, you know, I'm struggling with this. Can you help me? So if there's anyone out there, how do we get in contact with you?
You can, there's a couple of different ways. You could send me an email to melanie@gustobusiness.com, and you could check me out on my Facebook page, which is /Gusto Business. So Gusto is Gusto, as in Gusto.
Yeah.
Or you can go onto my website, which is www.gustobusiness.com. So you can reach out to me. To be honest, if you email me, you're very likely, it doesn't matter what time you email me at, you're more likely to get a response if you need any information.
Well, that's brilliant. And Melanie, thank you very much for taking time to explain all that to me and to the wider audience. I'll be going to revisit a few of those points, I think, myself. But I just want to say thanks again, and I hope to hear from you soon. Okay, thank you for having me, Gail. I'm looking forward to seeing this and telling everybody that I was speaking to you. That's great. Thanks very much. Thank you. Bye.